Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Music Color, the place where we are helping you to boost your producing skills while watching, learning, winning. If you're new here, consider subscribing because we have new content every week. So, I'm super happy that I have opportunity to share this masterclass with you. But before to get started, I would like to express my tremendous gratitude to our good friend John Clarcq, which accepted our invite to make this techno masterclass for us, where he dissects his techno track 12 p.m. If you like the track, you can buy it at Beatport, and I dropped a link at the description already, so if you like his masterclass, you can follow him at Facebook, SoundCloud, Beatport, and Instagram. Watch carefully, pretty cool stuff in here. So watch it again if you missed something or you can't understand something. Okay, so let's get started.
Hi guys, this is John Clarcq from Belgium and welcome in this new tutorial. First of all, thank you Ivan for this invite so I can present you a project which I have made 1 year ago. So this tutorial will be about how I did the creation of the track called 12 p.m. This was signed on the label called Blackbeard Recordings, which is a Belgian techno label. The whole idea about this track was that I had to create actually 3 tracks to have this full EP. This was not really the track which was originally signed on the label. This was actually the second track that I have made for the EP. But the manager of the label liked it so much, it was the main track of the EP, and it's called 12 p.m. So, first of all, I will play the whole project, and then we will talk about several things, how I made the sounds, created some effects. Actually, it's not really a very complex track, I believe so. It is just a techno track with a trancey vibe in it. So, let's go. Okay, first we'll check the sound. Okay, we're back right now. Yeah, so this was 12 p.m. Well, I hope you guys like the track in first place. So now we will check it out, how exactly I made this. We will start at the top to the bottom, and we're gonna check all the parts, the audio, the loops, the MIDI, how I created the sounds and stuff. So I won't have a lot of secrets over here, because creativity starts within you, you know. So first we will start with the kick. As mentioned before, this is not really a very complex track. This was made within a week actually. The kick, I think I just took a sample kick. I'm not sure. Oh no, actually I have created this kick by myself. I am not sure anymore how I did it. I think I used the Kick 2 plugin and then put it into a sample and yeah, added some effects and stuff. I'll check myself. Yeah, I used an analog plugin to boost the kick in the low end. So normally the kick sits around 50. I used this setting. Then in the EQ8 I cut some of the bass, because the bass is around 100 Hertz, so I've cut it over here. So this is the kick. Let's solo this. This is the kick. I think I layered maybe 2 kicks for this one. What I also do a lot when making some tech sounds, as an effect, I filter the kick, and this is a great technique for drops, and yeah, put some more excitement elements into the track, for changing the parts and stuff. So this is the HP kick. Normally you can automate this as well. So if you put on the bass kick like a filter, and you filter the parts that you would like to filter, that is also a technique that is possible. But I am a guy and like to keep things clear and visual, you know. And so when I see the kick over here, so this is the HP kick, and when I see this, I know there is a change over here. So when I'm busy in the project, I do not have to look exactly where that part was, you know. So this is the HP kick, the high pass kick. And here, as you can hear, there was a drop over here. So here drops the kick and the high pass kick. Okay, as you can see, I use it several times in this project. It is very nice and very useful in techno, to cut it the low end from the kick, yeah, to add that excitement into your production. So next up we have the bass. I just saw I also exported this in audio. Normally I have created this bass with the Anna 2, but if you create a bass and you layer several oscillators, yeah, the sounds can fight with each other. So I use one bass tab, and then I copy it. So the bass tab, it remains the same, constantly the same, so the oscillators do not fight with each other. So let's solo this so you can hear. Use the reverb bass as well. Also, the kick is kind of boomy, so I did not add too much bass. Otherwise, yeah, it can clash too much with the kick. And I think I have used sidechain as well. I use the LFO tool for that. Okay. So this bass is very low. To give it a bit more high end and space, I have created this reverb bass, and the reverb bass is actually not really the bass that I have exported into audio. It sounds like this. This is the reverb bass. Let's see how I created this with the Anna 2. It's very simple. Just one oscillator actually. It is played very low. I used the Moog filter, the low pass filter for this one. Very simple. I use some EQing, of course. As you can see, I cut all the low end. I created some delay reverb to have that space and to that bass, but make sure it does not clash with the sub bass of the track. This is together. Solo, just the low end, and solo, and the reverb bass. Okay, now this was an accent on the bass. It was actually a perk sound. I mean, yeah, this is just a perk, but very low played, you know. I'm not sure, maybe no, it was not transposed, excuse me. So this was basically just a perk from some kind of sample pack that I used, and just to give that extra bite in the low end of the production. And yeah, it definitely has something. If I play the kick and the bass together, it definitely creates this low end vibe, and it's kind of drummy. Yeah, I like it. I have decided to put this in the kick bass group because when I compress the things, it sounds very nice in this group. So that is why I did it. Yeah, I do have to say this was a year ago I've made this project. Right now I started this tutorial, so I really need to think what, yeah, exactly that I did. And I don't really have much time, so excuse me for that. So yeah, now let's check out the drums. For the drums, I have a hi-hat, closed hi-hat. This is a hat loop. I think I rearranged it and then consolidated this again into another loop. I do this a lot. I try to be original in creating loops. Let's set this all open so you can view what exactly I did to make all this. Okay, let's solo the drum loops. So this is the drum loop that I have created. So this is the hi-hat. I layered several hi-hats. If I solo the hi-hats, then you can see, oh, those are 3 different hi-hats. And normally I like to use panning with it to create some space. So this is the main hi-hat. This is the loudest part of the hi-hat. Then I have 2 other ones which I pan right and left to create a bit more space. The closed hi-hat, I used 2 different samples I see over here. So this I use a lot in my production. Always see and check if there is some question answer thing is going on. So this is the left shaker and this is the right shaker. 2 different shakers, and if you see the MIDI, they have different patterns, and also I played a bit with the velocity to make things interesting. Okay. So this is a hat loop. I'm not sure. Yeah, I consolidated this. So I created a slight different loop out of an existent one out of a loop, excuse me, that existed from a sample pack, and this is the UD Trans hat loops. Actually, I'm not sure from which pack it was. I think it comes from a pack from Sonic Academy. They do have some good samples. As well, they do have good courses too. You should definitely check this site out. It's interesting stuff going on over there for producers and people who would like to have some new tips and have some new samples you can buy. The Anna 2, which I actually really love, is also from Sonic Academy, so you should definitely check that out. The claps, I have used 3 claps to create this one. This is the main clap, and then I have 2 different claps. If you layer them, it creates something different and more interesting. Otherwise, you would only have this. It does not work out if I use this one. Yeah, it's not bad, but when you have all 3 of them together, it just sounds fat and yeah, open, wide, which I really like. Then I have this perk from a sample pack. Then I just look for other perks and I see I try to find some things that can match. So if you solo these 2 perks, back the question answer kind of thing that I was looking for. This is another perk layered with perk 1. This sounds more fatter than I would only use perk 1 as a standalone. Then I have this other perk, a third one. Let's first solo this perk. Oh, this one I actually reversed. I always like a good drive in my tracks, so I use lots of elements, and I try to seek and look for patterns that really work to create this very pumpy drive. Well, actually, the perk 3 was to create an extra vibe on the layered perks 1 and 2, if you can hear the reverb. Yeah. Then there's another loop that I have created, loop 1 and loop 2. I think those loops were also from sample packs, but a bit restyled. So it comes from the same loop, but I cutted some parts that I don't like and used the parts that I do like from that particular loop. So that is loop 1. And here I use the same technique for the loop 2. Sometimes I can rearrange them as well. I cut parts that I don't like, and I reuse parts that I do like, and sometimes I rearrange them. I barely use standard loops from sample packs because everybody can use them, and it's much more interesting if you do something creative with it in your own way. So this is loop 2. Normally when I create loops in my drum rack or my drum group, I cut the low end and I also cut a lot of the high end. and I leave room for the hi-hat, for the hi-hats. Those I boost with an analog plugin over here. On the closed hi-hats, I cut a bit on the high end to give more space to the hi-hat. So this is a hat loop, back hat, so I try to see and they do not really clash with the hi-hat. I think it's important that the hi-hat is bright, and the loudness of the hi-hat is kind of equal with the kick. Yeah, the claps are also a bit boosted. Oh no, the claps I just cut at the low end a bit, and I don't think. Oh yeah, I did boosted the highs over here on 5K. Yeah. Okay, so this was my drum rack. Then the leads and the synths. Let's see. This is the high pike. This is of course Anna 2. Most of my sounds I create just by myself from scratch. The Anna 2, as mentioned before, is my favorite VST plugin for a synthesizer. I think it's the most versatile synth at this moment. I can really create everything with this. Yeah. So let's play the high pike. It's just this beep I like. I actually was a bit inspired by Yves de Ruiter to create this tune. I don't know if you know the track Back to Earth, but yeah, it was just something I felt like creating and doing into this project. So yeah, I've tweaked a bit in the synth and tried to create some kind of similar sound as a track Back to Earth. And I'm not sure the waveform was heavy FM. I put it an octave higher. I added some noise, Geno noise. And I filtered it a bit. It also has some, yeah, rhythmic kind of vibe in this track as well when you hear it all together. So that was a high pike. These are Voxes. The A1 and the A2. Oh, no. Wait, that's the acid hit. Oh, okay, yeah, sorry, that's my mistake. Yeah, those are the acid hits that I have created. It was also created with the Anna 2, but to save some CPU, I converted it into audio. two different settings I did in Anna 2. And if you hear them both together, it has this very nice kind of vibe. Very techno, very acid. I just love it. The high pike we had. Perk. Oh, wait. I have this perk effect, I see. What was that again? Yeah. Sometimes I do that a lot in my projects. When I switch to different parts, or when I am evolving into another part of a track, I use these kind of hits. I think this was normally just a perk, but with a lot of delay and reverb on it. This is just dry. It seemed the sample already had some effects on its own, but I added some extra. Yeah. I also forgot that I created also this reverb kick. This also helps for transitions into other parts of tracks. I do not use that a lot. I just thought it sounded cool to use in this track. So let's play that. Here you hear it. So let's move on. So the high pikes we had, the acid hits. Now the main lead. This was also created in the Anna 2. I always start to init the synthesizer. I do not use a lot of presets because I think it's much more creative if you make the sounds by yourself. Yeah. You do have to know some knowledge about synthesis, but for me, if you just experiment in a week, I think you would be surprised how much sounds you could create from scratch. And further on, it's just about a bit the experience and stuff. So I actually created over here this path, but that part became this ARP, which is the main lead of this track. So actually I should rename this in ARP, but I was first thinking to create this pad track, which turned out to be something different. If I just put the Arpeggiator off mode, this is actually the sound that I created. But that was not really a techno kind of thing. So I just started to experiment with the Arpeggiator from Ableton, some different settings, and it totally sounds different, which I like. Dark techno, a certain groove, And yeah, it's just great. I use the minor settings, and as you can hear, it fully sounds different with the idea I basically had in my head. I just tweaked a bit, and yeah, I think I just did it on the way of serendipity. You know, I was looking for something different, and by adding this ARP and messed with some, messed with the knobs and the transpose, I just created some different tune which I really like. I do have to say, when I make a production, it is all about the experiment, you know. If you create music, it is very important you experiment, and then you discover new things which can sound very exciting for your production. The voxes are over here, so I thought it was over here, but no, it's here. Let's check it out. It's just normally samples from the sample pack with some extra reverb and delay on it. This is the other one then. I'm not sure what this one is. Yeah, I switched. Yeah, so I used 3 different samples to create this kind of long vox loop. Yeah, I use vox hits a lot in my productions. Sometimes I use samples, but I can make them myself as well sometimes. And it's easy to do so if you have a mic. Excuse me. And further we have the effects. This is the white noise sweep. Just something that I have created. I think it was just a basic synthesizer from Ableton, and then exported the audio. And as you can hear, this is the part when I go into the break, because it slows down. And later on we will check how exactly I did it. Then further we have basic crashes, like this one. Reverse, very standard, but very traditional in dance music. The snare effects to build up things and start changing and shifting in different parts of the track. It's very good for transitions. I layered it with so this is the clap and this is the snare, and this is also this kind of question answer thing. It's like the clap talks with the snare. This is a different snare, yeah. And this fill would was, yeah. This is something, an effect I created. I think by messing up some kind of perk and a clap or something like that, I can enjoy myself by creating some effects on my own. I do believe it also makes me feel better about my productions, that I do not use always these standard samples also for effects. Yeah, I think it's important to have your own signature in your productions and not to be lazy, you know. If you experiment, then you definitely have your own signature and you create something different than other productions for sure. And this is not a fill. This is also something I consolidated. Some snares and hi-hats that I have used. Yeah. And further we have the chorus kick. Which one was? Not sure. Oh yeah, it's like a sub to go into the breakdown. Some extra sweeps. I think I made this one myself as well. No, this one I didn't. This is from a sample pack. I think it was from... It was from some sample pack for movies, actually, which is a really good one, and I can recommend. It's very great for effects. This is the one, City Otherworld. Yeah, this is a really good one. Freshly, and this sample pack I can also recommend. This is from Freshly Squeezed, and it was a sample pack from this is misery. I cannot really see it very well. Let's check it out. VSDI samples and loops. So the CT Otherworld, that was from Loop Masters, for the people who are interested of buying it. From Dave Parkinson, Future Trance Essentials. This is a really good one for trance, techno, house. If you create any genre, I'm sure you will find some good samples that will fit your style in this pack, for sure. Yeah. Okay. Now we will check out some sections in this track, how I have created the transitions and how to automate things and keep things exciting in the whole production. If I'm not mistaken, I used a filter somewhere over here. Yeah. So here we have a high pass filter on all of the loops. Well, as you can hear, I'm changing another section of the production. And this is a technique I use a lot for my drums. If you high pass it, it's like it's like lifting you up into this other section, this other part of a track, and yeah, it sounds really exciting, and it adds an extra vibe in your production and your drums, which is really cool. Let's go a bit further. Sometimes that's also a thing I do in my productions, is these kind of drops. I just make a cut in the kick, the bass, and leave some parts to create something exciting in another section of the track. Over here in this section, I only left the vocals. So I've cut this, and then I just left the vocals, because this is a new section in the track, and so I add the vocals over here, and left some other parts, like wait, I'll check it out. Okay, here the high pike I just dropped and added some new drum elements over here. Yeah, that was the change in this section. So here I dropped, and I also did something with the high pikes. Let's check it out. Added some delay, and then I played a bit with the filter to keep things exciting. Here, more delay. And here I just made the note a bit longer. So now you do it with all the sounds. Here the first drop. You also hear the white noise over here, making the space. So this works very well. All of these sounds in this section, and yeah, the two drops just sounds exciting. Now we go further in the track. Here we have the acid hits. That's a different section. Yeah, here back left space for the kick and the bass to create room for yeah, effects and different sounds. Here we have the new Vox that comes in. And the new Vox, the crash, the claps, the snares, and the fills, they present the new section. They present the acid hits in the track. Over here you can hear the filters again from the drums in this section. Yeah, to create techno and progressive and dark kind of things. It's a handy trick. Okay, here we go further. Then over here, we have the hi-hats. And also over here, there are the high pikes again, which we dropped over here. And as we start with the high pikes, we slowly start to rise the Arpeggiator over here, which is also filtered here. Then we have another drop. Changing melodies, different parts. We have the white noise again. We have this sub kick or chorus kick. I use some chorus in that kick. That's why I used it. I named this track like this. So now we are in the breakdown. As you can see over here, I played a bit with the BPM. This was also inspired by the track from Yves de Ruiter called Calling Earth. Mixer song tempo over here. So here I dropped the tempo to 60 BPM, and here I have raised it to 200 BPM. Then I did back a drop to 60 BPM, and then over here we have again the original tempo. Here we change in the high pikes. This I did to rise into a different section of the track. So over here we're slightly going out of the break. I think I did that because it supports the rising tempo of the Arpeggiator as well, and it had this very nice effect. Then we have our acid hits again. And over here I played a bit with the pikes, just changed the MIDI notes and created something different, another section which is really cool. And over here, I have this reverse spike. And the reverse spike, yeah, it's an effect that I created by reversing the high pikes and convert it into audio. And it announces a new part in the track. Let's check it out. And off we go again. As you can hear, the reverse spikes is something new in this track. We'll first check what exactly I just automated the volume, I think so. No, the balance. Yeah. So it's going, the reverse spike is going from left to right. To create some extra space in the production. Over here, you see it, the automation. And also when you hear everything works down perfectly, as a question answer thing. This is something I really like, and it's very useful to create this kind of style, techno, progressive, and yeah, the more darker and harder styles. Works really good together, all those sounds. Okay. Then we have the new section, which almost announces the arpeggiator again. Over here we slightly raise again the drums, yeah. Over here we start with the closed hi-hats. Then we have a loop I announce again, the claps. Then over here the hi-hats. And here we have the bursts together again. I'm slightly moving on to the arpeggiator again. And I think this is about it. Now we're just rising with this arpeggiator, and then just filter it out again. Here we have a small drop again. With the reverse. Filtering the arpeggiator out. And we're going to the end. We're going to the end of the track, which is also the end of the tutorial. Well, yeah, I'm sorry I was not really that smooth. Ivan, he asked me, yeah, to do this, to create this tutorial. And I do like to share that with you. But I was not really well prepared, to be honest. Because also, yeah, I have lots of things to do. I make new productions, I work, I also do sports. So I hope you understand. Anyway, yeah, I hope you enjoyed it and inspired you to make music, to create a new production. And I would like to thank Ivan for the invitation for sure. And I hope he liked it as well. And I hope it is a good support for his channel as well. Yeah. So this is it. Till next time, guys.
Excuse me.